Yo, what's up everyone? Ceebz back here with another incredible video. Today we're actually talking about the sales process I use for getting new video production clients and how you can incorporate this into your business as well.
Dollar bills, y'all.
So in this video, I'm gonna go over everything from figuring out who your ideal client is to how to get in front of them, how to set a sales meeting, and how to ultimately run a sales meeting and the things that you wanna be talking about. So be sure you stick through this video. I'm gonna go over a ton of stuff. And if you have any questions, just let me know below in the comments. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing, the number one spot you need to start at when it comes to figuring out new clients to approach and how to get in front of them is, who is your ideal client? Seems very simple, but honestly, this is a huge issue that so many companies face. And especially when you're getting started, it can be very confusing because you don't necessarily know who to go after. Over the last 5 years, I've learned a lot about who good clients are, who's not a good client, who might be a good fit for the services that we do provide, who wouldn't be, red flags, things to look for in the beginning of a project before you even start. So I'm going to share some of those with you today, but it all starts with figuring out who your ideal client is. So for me right now, my ideal clients I know are doing about $1 million in revenue each year. The reason for that is typically you want to budget about 8 to 12% of your annual revenue towards marketing dollars. So that means these companies have roughly, 100 grand a year to spend on marketing, as well as they're usually used to spending money on marketing campaigns. A lot of startups or people just getting going aren't used to spending 5, 10, 20, 50 grand on a campaign. So when you start pitching them those prices, they're very cautious to do it because they've never done it, and that means more risk for them. So they're very nervous about moving forward with projects. When someone's used to spending money on marketing, the whole process is just much more simple. So I'm always looking for companies that are doing at least $1 million in revenue. I'm also looking for people that are truly passionate about their business, that are really hungry for growth, that are ready to go, and I need people to be as involved in the growth of their company as we're going to be. The worst thing that can happen is you find someone who's just like, yeah, I need new leads, new business coming in, etc. You start to do that, and then they're not following through on their end. They're not running their sales process. They're not reaching out to prospects. And then they're saying, hey, we worked with them, but they didn't do that good of a job. In reality, it's all on them. So by catching this early on and making sure someone's fully committed to be all in, you're eliminating a lot of the risk for yourself, because now you have a client that you can make a great success story out of. You can get testimonials from, they'll refer you to other people, etc. So choosing the right clients to work with is very important. Another thing I'm looking for is always someone who has a good competitive advantage. Either the product or service just really stands out. They're great at what they do. I don't want to be trying to sell some widget just so someone can make more money on the side or whatever like that. I want to work with passionate business owners that are all in. Like I said, with great products or services. I love when they have a great differentiator, because then we can find ways to market that and really push that out there. And I'm also just looking for good people to work with. Will they pass the beer test? At the end of the day, do you want to go drink a beer with that client, or would they be so annoying that you don't want to? If they don't pass that test, I don't really want to work with them, because over time, we spend a lot of time with our clients. My clients become my good friends and part of my circle almost. So if I don't like them as a person, I don't want to work with them. It's just as simple as that. So figure out your ideal client, figure out how we can get in front of them, figure out where they're hanging out. It could be online, social media, it could be websites and finding emails, it could be online publications, there could be networking groups, etc. They're somewhere, and now we need to get you in front of them with either yourself, a piece of content, a marketing post, etc. So now that you know who your ideal client is, you need to get into list building and actually reaching out to them. So a couple things when it comes to this part, and especially with marketing in general. A lot of people that are first starting their business, they're very focused on ads, online ads. That's all I hear is, well, I want to build an ad funnel. The reason most people want to do that is because they're afraid to reach out to clients. They don't want to go through the stressful part of making a cold call or sending an email and getting rejected. They'd rather just send ads out and hope things come in. So ads would be like a money method. Doing outreach on your own time, more of a time method. When you're first getting started, you need to focus solely on time methods. Your business is going to evolve so much as you go. Your services might change, your ideal client might change, where they hang out might change, etc. What can happen is if you start running ads and you really don't have all that defined in the beginning, you're just being very inefficient with your ad spend. So unless you have a ton of money to blow, I highly recommend starting with time methods. Do it on your own time, outreach. You're gonna be able to nail your messaging. You're gonna be able to have a lot of conversations with people to figure out what your ideal client wants, a lot more than just what you think they want. So what I'll do, I'll reach out to them, I'll send them a message and just say, hey, Bill, came across your profile. We work with similar companies in the marine industry and are always looking for new partners. Would it make sense to chat more? And I'll send them a video link to one of the videos we recently just did. And so that's it. All I'm doing is finding target customers. I'm building a list of people. You can do this on LinkedIn. You can do it on Instagram. You can go on Google and search boat builders in your city, marine industry companies in your city, obviously for your own niche. You could be searching for party planners or event companies or lawyers or whatever it may be, whatever you're going after. You can use online, social media, etc. Instagram's also great. I do love to DM people on there too, because if they're engaged in social, it means typically they understand the content world a little bit more. Trying to pitch a 65-year-old person who's never been on social media about the importance of social media and creating good content and putting it out there for everyone to see isn't really going to understand the true value. However, if someone has been doing content and they know how much goes into it, they know how much time it takes, how much energy it takes, how it's taking them away from focusing on their core business, that's where you can come in and present a solution to them as their marketing partner, their content specialist, whatever it may be. So figure out your target customers, start building your list, start doing outreach. So even this morning, I got one of my outreach messages. They came back and said, hey, that looks great. I actually would love to talk more next week. So what do you do once you actually have a prospect that says, look, I'm interested, let's chat more? The sole purpose of doing outreach or making a cold call or sending an email or sending a video message, your goal from doing all that is to set the sales meeting. A couple things when it comes to setting the sales meeting. The first thing you want to do is set the sales meeting 3 to 5 days out. Reason being, your prospect needs to know you're busy. They need to know you're working on client projects and you got other things going on. Think about if someone came to you and said, hey, I would love to do work for you. And then I said, when are you available? And they said, I don't have shit going on, just let me know. First thing in my mind is, why don't you have anything going on? Why don't you have any other clients? Why aren't you working to get other clients? If I have nothing going on, it means I'm doing a whole lot of other stuff to help grow the business, get it to the next level, do videos like this, figure out course creation, figure out YouTube, figure out SEO. There's always something to be done. So when I hear from someone, I don't have anything going on, it's a red flag for me. So set your sales meeting 3 to 5 days out and give them 2 times. If it's a Monday, say, look, I got Wednesday from 2:15 to 3 o'clock open and Thursday morning from 10:20 to 11:10 open. And I know those times sound crazy, but the other thing is just giving those detailed times. It can make the potential client realize, look, this person's super busy. They're super dialed in with their scheduling. This seems like someone we really want to work with. 80% of your sale is done before you give a price. All of these little details, you have to follow the process. Because if you don't, it doesn't work out how you want it to. I'll put it that way. Follow the process. 80% of the work is done before you give the price. You give the price, they say yes, and you say, wow, how much work could I charge? That's what happens when you follow this process. And it obviously doesn't work every time. Sales is a numbers game. But follow the process each and every time. So set your meeting 3 to 5 days out. Give them 2 times to talk at. They're going to say, hey, let's meet Wednesday at this time. Okay? So if you're just getting started and you don't have sales experience, I would go to that sales meeting and take the sales meeting. What I do is I do a next follow-up. Once they've confirmed and said, hey, I would love to chat, and it seems like there's already some good interest, I'll actually send a discovery form of like 10 to 15 questions I have for that business owner, that CEO, that marketing director, etc. Simple things, where you're at with your business, what are you trying to do, where you're trying to go, what forms of marketing have worked for you, is there anything else you should share before the call. I position it as, look, I'm sure you're incredibly busy as well. Same with me. I would love to just learn a little bit more about what you guys are trying to do so that I can do my homework ahead of time and we can be incredibly effective on this call. Instead of just going over introductions, we can talk about actual strategies, how we can implement them, what costs might be, etc. It's just gonna save us the time of having to set up a second meeting, and just only go over really introductions in this first meeting. So I do that because I wanna protect my time. I also wanna qualify the prospect. if a prospect is not willing to spend 5 minutes filling out a simple form for me, there's no way they're going to move forward when I quote them 25 grand for a project, 10 grand, 5 grand, whatever, $100. They're probably not going to move forward. They're always going to be looking at the situation as, well, what can you do for me versus like, you get to work with me right now. Like, you get to come into my world where we're specialists, work with my whole team. You know, that's the approach you have to take when you go into these meetings. And this brings me to the next spot. You know, they say, look, Wednesday at, I forgot what times I said, but Wednesday works great. Let's do it then. So what do you do in the sales meeting? What do you talk about, etc.? I'm going to do a deeper dive into the actual sales meeting, but for this, there's a couple things I really want you to know. So the primary focus of the sales meeting is to figure out more about this person's business, their brand, what they're trying to achieve. That's it. You need to go in and see if they are a good fit for you. Once again, this ties back into working with good clients and good customers. You want to know, hey, look, this person is dedicated to this idea. They're ready to move forward at full speed. They trust us, they're excited, they're ready to go, they have a great product or service, etc. You want to be setting yourself up for success, and that's the goal of the sales meeting, is to ask a lot of questions. Hey, where are you at in your business right now? What are you trying to do? You know, figure out what their expectations are. What I always ask is, and this also future paces the meeting and helps in their mind them start envisioning the success, right? So all sales is, it's simple. It's a client is here, they want to get here, you're positioning yourself as the bridge to get there, right? I'll give you a perfect example from a sales call I had earlier this year. So I said, where are you at right now? They said, look, we're doing about $100,000 a month. And I said, well, where would you like to be? You know, let's say in 12 months, we go out, we're popping bottles in the club. That's how good of a year it was. What does that look like? What did we just do over that past year? So now they're envisioning, you know, and they're getting that feeling inside of them of this success. This client said, well, I want to 5X the company. I want to protect our brand as we grow, and I want to focus on profits. So I said, great. Now I know what his expectations are, and when I come to figure out the plan, and this is why knowing he had big goals, instead of pitching one video, I pitched 8. I said, we're going to do 8 videos for you instead, because there's no other way you're going to get there this year to get to your goals. So by understanding more about what the client wanted, I actually was able to 4 or 5X my price and charge a lot more, because I sat there and asked questions for an hour and a half and learned more about his business. And at the end of this deal, he said, look, the one of the reasons we're hiring you is we talked to 4 other marketing companies. No one dove deep into learning more about the business and truly understanding what we needed like you did. So it's very important to just ask questions about their business, figure out where they're trying to go, figure out what's holding them back. You gotta identify their pain points, you know? Why are we sitting here talking today? Look, I've tried to do video for months and it just hasn't worked out. Okay, great. You've heard them say like, I need you basically. So now you know when you go to close the deal, look, what will happen if you waste 3, 4, 5 more months on this versus getting started with us right now? We're ready to go. I got the team ready to go. I got the people. Let's make it happen, right? So you can use all these things to really help close the deal at the end of the day. So future pace the meeting, you know, figure out what success looks like, identify their pain points, ask a lot of questions to figure out more about their business. And at the end of that, if you think there is a good fit, this is where you can go into the close. So the close is simple. Look, based on everything we talked about, it seems like a video business card is the best thing to help you get to your goals. You know, and you said you want to do X, Y, and Z over this next year. Does that sound appropriate? Yeah, I think a video business card is a great idea, you know, based on what you told me. Okay, the cost to do that would be $4,500. Is that doable? And then you stop and you just pause and you look at them. And they're going to be quiet. They're either going to say, okay, yeah, no problem. Or they'll sit there for a second and think. If they sit and think, you have to sit there. Don't say anything. Don't come back and be like, well, look, you know, things are slow right now. I'll do it for $3 grand. No, hold where you're at. Look at them. Make them feel the pressure. If you're on the phone, hit the mute button if you can't contain yourself, okay? They're going to come back with either a yes or something else. If they say, well, look, get me a proposal, you know, and we'll think about it, this or that. I don't do proposals. Unless they're a marketing director that needs to pitch a really high up CEO, there's no way we're going to do a proposal because it's just wasting my time because they're too embarrassed to say, no, right? So what I'll do is I'll just say, well, is there anything that like, what are your primary concerns with this? Is it just on price? And they might say, well, no, we're getting a couple other quotes. You know, you need to figure out what objections to overcome at that point. And I'm going to go over that more in the next video. But just know, once you go for the close, state your price, ask them if it's doable, be quiet. They're either going to say yes or no. Ideally, it's a yes, and then you go into the onboarding procedures and bring them on as a client. So I hope this video helped clarify a little bit more about the sales process. Just to recap it real quick, first, figure out your target customers. Figure out where they are and how you can get in front of them. Secondly, you want to start building a list of clients to go after. It can be small. You know, it could be 3 people, 3 dream clients, or it could be a big list of 100 people. If you're going for 3, make your outreach really personable and put more time into it. If it's 100, you know, it's a numbers game. Once you have your list built, figure out the decision makers, start reaching out to them. Send them a message, send them a video message, send them a previous video you did. Find a way just to get in front of them, let them know you exist. Set the sales meeting once they show interest, and then go into the sales meeting and just dominate, baby. Yeah. So, I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions on this, drop them below in the comments. Doing a ton more videos this year. Also like and subscribe because that's what you do on YouTube. And that's all I got. I'll see you guys next time.